Today I'm gonna show you a little do-it-yourself project I did for a single dose bean cellar. This is something that I saw with the Woodward Workshop. I've seen a couple of other companies as well make it, but it was always a little bit too expensive for my taste for what it was. And yes, I understand that there are valves and all these other things, but I'm a very handy person, a very do-it-yourself person, so I figured I can make that myself. And so I did. What I'm gonna be showing you isn't exactly a tutorial, but it can inspire you to make some yourself. I will also leave the product links for certain products that I purchased, like the glass vials. I'll leave those down below so you can also purchase them yourself, because that kind of was the hardest part of the project, in my opinion, was sourcing. If you're not aware, the whole purpose of a single dose bean cellar, it helps with increasing your workflow because you could do all the measuring and pre-dosing ahead of time and then just open that single dose and pour it in. And then you can also keep it fresher longer because you're not opening the bag each time. That's assuming that the single bean cellar or glass vial that you have is good at keeping it fresh. Although I think that if you put it in a sort of container, it's gonna be fresh enough. Yes, a one-way CO2 valve and stuff like that that's designed specifically for that is probably better. But I personally think that the difference is incremental, but you know what? We all have our opinions on that. My palate is not to the point of James Hoffmann where I could probably taste those nuances. So for me, this is enough. What you're gonna need and what was more difficult to source was actually these glass vials. This is a glass vial that I don't know what the contents it can hold is, but it's like a 30 by 120 mil. I'm gonna leave this in the description so you can buy these yourself. It came in a pack of 24, which is massive. They came super well packaged. Nothing came broken. It arrived really quickly. In 2 weeks it arrived. This can hold 20 grams of beans easily. It can hold a little bit more as well. If you are looking to dose like 14 to 15 grams maybe in a single basket, this may be too big for you. You might want to go one size down, but I wouldn't be able to tell you if I think the one size down is 30 by 100 mil tall. Wouldn't be able to tell you if that for a fact is big enough, but I suspect it is based on how much space I saw left here. I've seen some with a screw top and then cork top. I went with the cork top for a few reasons. I find it just looks cleaner, it looks nicer. I like the natural material. I think it's a natural cork. Who knows nowadays? I think it feels like a natural cork, but who knows? I also like that you can open it one-handed like that and then just pour. So that's a bonus. I also figured if there is a little bit of off-gassing, although I plan to put beans in here that have been off-gassed for 2 weeks time anyway, but let's say there's a little bit of off-gassing, I feel like this would be easier for the gas to escape or push the cork up should it need to, instead of being more locked in with a screw vial. Although I don't think even the screw top, I don't believe is something that is stuck in there to the point that it would explode, let's say. I also like that it's a flat bottom. What I particularly like about these glass vials is that there's a little lip right here that doubles the thickness of the glass at the opening. So it's actually a lot of a tighter fit with the cork top instead of just being a cheap cylinder manufactured all the way up. There was a little bit extra manufacturing that was done on these particular glass vials, making the cork top a nice fit. Because there can be slight variations in the weight of each glass vial, I decided to weigh the beans in a container that I know will always be the same and just use that one container tiered to then put all of the beans in. Now the variation is super slight here and the scale also has some tolerances. So this one's showing 33.23, depends. They're all about 33.2.3. This one's a little bit more, I'm not sure why. I just rather go with this one set container and then use this to tare and measure out all the beans from here and then pour it into the glass vials, or use a funnel that I will be purchasing to be able to refill even quicker. In terms of how much it can fit in dosage, I like to dose 20 grams, and I usually go for a medium light roast. Ethiopian is my favorite. So let's go for 20 grams. Perfect. Got a nice flat bottom. Show you how much that fits. 20 grams, even with some room for extra or for gas. So I would say you're pretty good for 20 to maybe 24 grams. This isn't a light roast. The beans are a bit smaller. If you're going for bigger beans, you might have a bit less room, but this is a good gauge of this bean. This is actually currently it's a Catuai Brazil, so that gives you an idea. The beans are pretty small. There. That's pretty much max capacity of this particular Brazilian Catuai bean that I have in there. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. Hopefully I'm pronouncing that right. I just tared my scale, 24 grams, 24.5 grams. And then to fill it up, I have this funnel that I'm buying. It's stupidly expensive in Canada, but don't know why. It's probably shipping out of an American warehouse. It's not that cheap on Amazon.com, so I'm gonna link that down below so you'll be able to purchase that yourself to refill the cylinders. Although, in the meantime, I use this little jug that I was unable to find and source online to provide a link for you. So I'm gonna leave the spice funnel that I purchased for myself, which is really great and very wide mouth, so it makes refilling a bunch of these very easy. I'm using this for now, which kind of works, but a bean has the possibility to fall out. This is just this random little 150 milliliter jug that I got with an oil diffuser, but I couldn't find this. So again, so just, you know, the funnel is the other option that I bought myself and that you could also purchase. So you can basically, in the product links in the description below, you could put all of it in your cart, purchase it from 2 different places that I'm gonna be posting below, and then you'll just have to make the holder yourself, or you might not even need to make the holder. You could just put this in some sort of a Tupperware. Depends if you want it to be purely utilitarian or beautiful and functional. So I want it to be beautiful and functional, so I'm going with these extra steps. If I were to make this holder again today, I would do it a little bit differently. Several reasons. This is a black acrylic 1/8 inch. There's a little bit of a protective film on it. I made this very last minute, very quickly as an add-on to another project I was already getting laser cut. I designed and made myself that little piece. It'll be okay as artwork for my home. So while getting that done, I decided to also cut up these pieces, designing this very quickly. These little holes are to put 1/4 inch dowels through. You could also buy a chunk of wood, and if you have a drill press is even better, you could just drill press in holes to make a nice holder like the Weber Workshop. So just a block with the holes so your glass vials can sit in it. I went with 8 just because I didn't want it to be too massive, and I have a bunch of these other glass vials that I'll probably store somewhere else and then refill as time goes by, just because I have so many of them. I can basically have 3 sets of these. I even thought about putting them together, maybe putting them on Etsy and selling them, but that's just way too much logistics, too much work. If that's something that you're interested in, leave a comment below. Maybe I'll consider it, but I don't think I really feel like dealing and having a whole other business, and I would like to provide this to people and, you know, make a little profit off of it as well, and I definitely could. I know how to make them. It's just the logistics of this breaks and shipping them and then packaging them and everything. It's just a whole other thing. But if there's enough interest, maybe I'll look into it. Leave a comment below, let me know. If I had to redesign this again today, it wouldn't be with black acrylic. I only use black acrylic because I was already using that for another project and buying the material. I would use it in a wood, a thicker wood. I would get it laser cut still, and I would have it basically flat packed so that right now I had to buy dowels to fit inside and make the structure. Instead, I would have done it so that I could create little square notches with the thickness of the wood, laser cut the side pieces so that they could basically sit in here on top like that. I don't know if that was clear, but basically to create some sort of a structural skeleton on the sides that will hold it instead of having wood dowels. That would be if I were to redesign it today, specifically redesigning this piece, this holder, as a separate project. That's what I would do personally. Maybe that'll give you some ideas if you're able to laser cut or 3D print or any of those things. But if you have a drill press, honestly, the easiest thing is to just get I don't have a drill press, otherwise I would have done that because I prefer wood. I don't love black acrylic. That's why I got the wood dowel to balance it out. But yeah, that's what I would do. So I'm gonna show you what I'm gonna be doing that with this. Eventually I will remove this. So I'm gonna cut the wood dowel pieces. I think I'm gonna go about 8 centimeters high, just so that there's enough of a space like that to stick the cylinder and hold everything. I just want this to be a very simple thing that's gonna look really nice on my counter. In terms of the cost of the project itself, minus the funnel, we're looking at This was 36 US, about 47 Canadian. The materials and the laser cutting for this is gonna vary depending on where you live and what access you have to. Let's say if you're buying a block of wood and all that stuff, and if you have the drill press, let's say we're looking at maybe, let's put it at 20 max for this, plus the wood dowel was $1.60. So let's just round everything up to 70. So we're looking at $70 Canadian, plus all these other glass vials that I have. So 70 Canadian, probably about 55 US versus 300 something US for Weber Workshop. So that's a big price difference. And it wasn't like it was that much work for me to do. Well, for me, it wasn't that much work. It's just a little bit of a do-it-yourself project. I don't need it to be as fancy. I don't need a little handle. I mean, those are nice, but honestly, it's so unnecessary. It's not like I'm gonna be going around carrying my like little bean cellar from one place to another. There's no need for that. So I just want it to be functional. I want it to hold my glass without accidentally tipping all over these glass jars. So that's the price of that. Good price difference. Just to give you some ideas and inspire you, because I haven't seen that many projects like this online. I've seen a handful on Reddit, on YouTube, but that's it. So this will give you some ideas that you could do yourself. So now I'm gonna cut the little wood dowels. I'm gonna put this whole thing together and show you the end result. I have a pretty lo-fi system where I just secured it and then put a marking of 8 centimeters, and I have my really little tiny Dremel to do the drilling here. I don't have anything fancier than this at home, so let's hope that this works. It's not the best, but it works. Hopefully it works well enough. I wish I was at my parents' house where I had access to table saws and other fancy things, but I'm a little impatient. Worst case, this wood dowel is 48 inches long, so if I mess up, I can just use the rest to do properly. But if this works, or it works temporarily, I'm gonna use it. So I'm just gonna keep doing that 4 times. Honestly, I'm surprised that worked with my little Dremel. They're not great, but I think it's gonna do the trick, and if it holds up, then I don't really care. I might have to be a little bit careful because they may be fragile, but worst case scenario, I might just go to my parents' house and end up redoing the pieces, because I don't know how well they'll hold up, because the way I designed it, I kind of need one end to be flat, but the idea, they're falling. The idea is to glue them in like this and then stick this piece on top. So the only issue is that this piece doesn't have holes. I had designed it like that thinking that I could just have them lay flat. I'm probably just gonna hot glue it. It's gonna be a little bit of a mismatch for now. I'm going to try to perfect it at another time. I'm not gonna give myself a hard time. This wasn't even supposed to be like a real project, but here we are. One side's matte, one side's glossy, so I'm not sure which side I'm gonna go with. As nice as the glossy is, it's gonna show when it scratches. Maybe I'll put it like this for now. And we'll put the glossy side face up so there's some cool reflection. A decision that I may regret in the future, and then I have to make the same decision 2 more times. Maybe I'll go gloss. Maybe this is what I will be doing. Gloss it is. This does not go at all with this color. I'm gonna have to stain this or something. We're gonna hot glue everything now. Hope for the best. This is the most not planned project I have done so far. It's not gonna be a very sturdy holder for the time being. If I actually wanna keep this, I might have to redesign it, or it's just never gonna move from my kitchen and it'll be fine. If it doesn't move, less things to worry about. You know, if it works, right? Okay, here we go. Wow, I'm gonna have to clean that up. It's actually sturdier than I thought. So I guess I'll just glue this down like this then. It's a little bit of a tricky one now. Woo! To do this pretty quickly, that's the only thing that's a bit... I'll clean that up after. I had some tolerances for the holes, for the glass vials, but The glass vials actually are very well made that there is no need for the tolerances, but it just makes it easier to slip in and out to just give myself that little bit of extra space. This actually is working out better than I thought. I don't know about long-term durability with my little do-it-yourself project, but it's working. It holds it, which is pretty much what I wanted. I just can't be that rough with this, but my God, it holds up. Look at that. I have to say, I'm pretty impressed with this shoddy job. I wanted to share this with you just to show you that it wasn't that difficult to make. Like I said, I didn't design this with enough consideration and time because I wanted to do my other project, which is the original reason I got the laser cutting acrylic done. So I wasn't planning to make this, didn't really take enough time to design it and get it done and everything. It's surprisingly sturdy and it works well, and I didn't even glue it that really well and aligned, and it's all working pretty well. The hot glue is working better than I thought, so look at this, it's pretty cute. If you look at it quickly, not great. But if I were to make this to sell, I would definitely have it in a way that it's just a flat pack, assemble, stick on top of each other, put some wood glue type of thing. It wouldn't be this kind of guesswork and putting things together. It would be better designed. Very happy with the result. This is fantastic. I'm happy with this. Like, look at this. It's actually not even like coming out of the spot. Like, this little thickness is enough to actually keep it in place. I would make it maybe double the thickness if I were to redesign it in wood, but not bad. I'm gonna go and put some coffee in this and enjoy it. So that's it for me. See you in the next video. Bye.